DSNs and variables are used by logic blocks when performing actions. In this lesson, we review how logic blocks use DSNs and variables to simplify processing. A DSN, also known as a data source name, is a named reference to a specific record. This could be an existing record in a table, or a temporary record created within a logic block. It allows a logic block to consistently access field values without directly working on the source data. Logic block actions such as fetch records and set values create DSNs to temporarily store records required by the logic block. Next, the logic block uses the DSN to perform tasks on the record, such as calculations, validations, and conditional processing, or to pass the data to another logic block. Although a DSN does not change the original data by itself, logic block actions can use the data stored in a DSN to update table records when required. When naming a DSN, be sure to give it a name that is descriptive and meaningful to the next person who may work with the logic block. Let's look at two examples of how a DSN may be used by a logic block. Sales representatives use the sales orders application to enter customer orders. When the user saves an order, the write sales orders logic block runs. One of its validations determines if enough inventory is available to complete the order. To complete this validation, write sales orders calls the retrieve inventory balances logic block. This logic block accesses the inventory balances table to retrieve the current inventory level for the ordered item. Write sales orders also creates a DSN, named call retrieve inventory balances, to store the record. The DSN is then used to compare the ordered amount to the current inventory quantity. If enough inventory exists, the write sales order logic block will process the order. If there is not enough stock to fulfill the order, the logic block will put the remaining amount on backorder, and the user will be notified. Once the logic is complete, the DSN ceases to exist. Now that inventory has been confirmed, the update inventory balances logic block runs and reduces the on-hand inventory for the ordered item in the inventory balances table. The logic block uses a fetch records action to retrieve the record to be updated and store it in a new DSN called fetch inventory balances. Using the DSN, the logic subtracts the ordered amount from the available quantity. The last logic action is update record, which saves the updated quantity to the inventory balances table. Once the data is saved to the table and the logic completes, the DSN ceases to exist. While a DSN stores an entire record, a variable stores a single field value. A variable is a user or system-defined value that is not stored in a table and serves as a temporary value which can be reused throughout the logic block. Use variables when you need to manipulate field values, validate fields, or perform other logic but do not want to modify a data source. Let's look at an example. Now that the update inventory balances logic block has reduced the available stock amount, the reorder stock logic block runs. This logic block determines if the inventory level is equal to or less than the product's reorder threshold. The reorder stock logic block uses a fetch records action to locate the current inventory value and stores the value as a variable called current stock balance. The logic then compares this amount to the reorder threshold for the item. If the current stock balance variable is less than the reorder threshold, reorder stock calls another logic block to order additional stock. DSNs are flexible tools to help manage data within a logic block and are used by logic to perform calculations without modifying the original data. A variable is a user or system-defined value that is not stored in a table and is used throughout the logic block. By using DSNs and variables effectively, you can perform calculations and automate actions while preserving your original data until you want to modify it. Apply these tools to keep your data accurate while making your logic blocks more powerful and flexible. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. To learn more about this topic, please refer to Next World Help.